The problem with Top Gun is that there are only 2 movies. Come on, Hollywood, get a move on and serve me up some more Maverick goodness. Give it to me. But seriously, what is there left to say about Top Gun as a franchise? I suppose you could make a case that the films are essentially jingoistic military propaganda designed to make the Navy look really cool while simplifying broader international conflicts. They certainly do that, to the point that the very Russia-coded bad guys from Maverick are never explicitly defined. It's a nagging conundrum pairing the relative realism of the rest of the film against comically anonymous generic bad guys. Not that it's inherent to Maverick, the original does essentially the same thing. This deliberate ambiguity serves multiple purposes beyond simple political correctness. It allows the films to focus on the personal journeys of the pilots rather than getting bogged down in geopolitical complexities. The faceless adversaries become more of a plot device than actual characters, which keeps the spotlight firmly on Maverick and his squadron. It's a storytelling choice that prioritizes emotional investment over political commentary, though one could argue it's also a convenient way to avoid taking any real stance on contemporary conflicts. So yeah, not a bad thing necessarily, just an element that requires a small shift in perspective to appreciate. Another concern might be that the films are a tad unrealistic in their portrayal of strong, definitely heterosexual male bonding. Flight sequences. Their portrayal of flight sequences. Yeah. You could make the argument that the moves shown in the films, particularly in Top Gun Maverick, are needlessly impractical at times and therefore strain credulity. To which I say, meh.
Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday.
Can a jet actually do the belly-up routine as seen in Maverick? Not according to at least one actual pilot, but do I care? Not really. In fact, not at all. It's a cool scene, and I think there's something to be said about cool for the sake of cool. And that's that it's cool. The homoerotic undertones that permeate both films have become something of a cultural touchstone, spawning countless memes and academic discussions about masculinity in American cinema. The volleyball scene in the original, the beach football sequence in Maverick, these moments of shirtless camaraderie walk a fascinating line between traditional masculine bonding and something more charged. Whether intentional or not, this subtext adds layers to what could otherwise be straightforward action films, creating a tension that keeps audiences engaged on multiple levels. In fact, I'm gonna go one step further and say that the Top Gun franchise is a borderline perfect slice of Hollywood-produced pop culture. Maverick is certainly the superior film, but you really can't do much better than the original when it comes to sweaty machismo, backed by Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone. It's a hyper-stylized can of sickly sweet adrenaline, expertly crafted by the one and only Tony Scott. If I could bottle up that feeling of watching Top Gun in a theater and spray it all over my whole body every morning, I damn well would. Tony Scott's visual language in the original Top Gun established a template that countless action films have tried to replicate. His use of saturated colors, rapid-fire editing, and that signature golden hour cinematography created an aesthetic that screams 1980s cool louder than a Kawasaki Ninja racing down the Pacific Coast Highway. The film's visual style is so distinctive that it's instantly recognizable even in parody form, which speaks to the powers of Scott's directorial vision. The cultural impact of the original cannot be overstated. It didn't just influence filmmakers, it influenced fashion, music, and even military recruitment. The Navy reportedly saw a significant uptick in applications following the film's release, proving that sometimes the best propaganda is the kind that doesn't feel like propaganda at all. The Ray-Ban aviators, the leather jacket, the casual confidence, Top Gun essentially created a blueprint for cinematic cool that endures nearly 4 decades later. Okay, so let's switch things up a bit. What makes Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick work so well? I think it comes down to 2 dominant factors: stunts and camaraderie. Technically, there's the third thing, Tom Cruise, but he's a foregone conclusion. He's freaking Tom Cruise. The last movie star knows what it takes to make a successful blockbuster. Given there aren't any mummies involved, of course. Tom Cruise's commitment to authenticity borders on the obsessive, and that dedication pays dividends in both films. His insistence on practical effects and real stunts gives the Top Gun movies a tactile quality that's increasingly rare in our CGI-saturated landscape. When Cruise is actually in that cockpit, pulling real Gs and experiencing genuine discomfort, it translates through the screen in a way that pure digital effects simply cannot match. His willingness to put himself in genuinely dangerous situations for the sake of entertainment has become his calling card, and rarely is it more effective than in Top Gun. And sure enough, briefly delving into the behind-the-scenes facts, it should come as no surprise that Cruise was the one orchestrating the use of real aircraft in every shot of Maverick, as well as the inclusion of the actual actors in the flights. They're not actually flying the jets, of course, but they're a part of the action and legitimately trained for 3 months to combat air sickness and get themselves used to pulling all those Gs. This adds an extra layer of authenticity to the film and allows the audience the opportunity to become even more taken in by the stunt work than they otherwise would be in a more CGI-heavy environment. The training regimen that the cast underwent for Maverick was reportedly grueling. Miles Teller, Glen Powell, and the rest of the young pilots had to endure months of preparations that included flight training, physical conditioning, and learning to operate cameras while experiencing intense G-forces. This commitment to realism extends beyond mere marketing gimmick. It fundamentally changes how the actors relate to their characters and how audiences connect with the story. Speaking of CGI, there's actually quite a bit of it in Top Gun Maverick, but you probably wouldn't notice most of it as its use was highly practical, turning a 2-seat plane into a single seat, reskinning jets so they could be more accurate to the situation, and crafting the necessary terrain for the big military maneuver. The production crew made sure to include at least one actual plane in every shot, with additional planes added if necessary. This represents a masterclass in modern filmmaking. By using digital effects to enhance rather than replace practical elements, Maverick achieves something that purely computer-generated sequences often fail to deliver: weight and consequence. Every flight maneuver carries genuine risk because there are real people in real aircraft performing them, even if some elements are digitally enhanced for safety or dramatic effect. The franchise's approach to nostalgia also deserves recognition. Rather than simply recycling beats from the original, Maverick uses its predecessor as a launching pad for exploring themes of legacy, aging, and relevance in a changing world. It's a sequel that honors its source material while telling a genuinely new story, something that's become increasingly rare in our franchise-driven entertainment landscape. Ultimately, the Top Gun films succeed because they understand something fundamental about cinema. Sometimes the best stories are the simplest ones, told with maximum conviction and style. They're about friendship, sacrifice, and the pursuit of excellence in its purest form. Strip away the jets and the military setting, and you're left with timeless themes wrapped in spectacular packaging. That's a combination that never goes out of style, which is probably why we're all still waiting, and somewhat impatiently I might add, for Top Gun 3. But how about you? Are you excited for the upcoming sequel? Do you agree with my slobbery love of the franchise, or is it more flawed than I made it out to be? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching ScreenRant.